Have you ever stopped to ask yourself a question so strange that it changes everything? What if you have never actually seen reality? Not once. Not even for a single second. At first, that sounds impossible. You're looking at this screen right now. You can see its colors, its shape, its brightness. It feels obvious. Reality is right in front of you, but neuroscience suggests something deeply unsettling. The world you experience may not be the world that actually exists. Your eyes are not windows. They never have been. They collect tiny fragments of light. Nothing more. Those fragments travel through the optic nerve. They become electrical signals. And then, something extraordinary happens. Darkness. Inside your skull, there is no light, no color, no sound. Only billions of neurons exchanging tiny electrical impulses. Somehow, out of that electrical activity, a complete world appears. A blue sky, a human face, music, pain, love, fear. Everything you have ever experienced has existed only inside the activity of your brain. Think about that. Your brain has never touched the outside world. It has never seen a tree, never heard a voice, never felt the warmth of the sun. It has only interpreted signals. It has spent your entire life building a model, a simulation, a reality that exists inside your mind. And here is the truly unsettling part. You have no direct way of comparing that internal model to whatever exists outside it, because every comparison would also happen inside the same brain. For centuries, people assumed perception worked like a camera. The world exists. Light enters your eyes. Your brain records what is there. Simple. Except, that isn't how perception works at all. Modern neuroscience increasingly suggests something radically different. Your brain is not waiting for reality to appear. It is constantly predicting it, moment by moment, millisecond by millisecond. Long before you become consciously aware of what you're seeing, your brain has already decided what it believes is out there, which raises a disturbing possibility. Perhaps you are not experiencing reality itself. Perhaps you are experiencing your brain's best guess. And if that is true, then one question becomes impossible to ignore. How much of your world exists outside your mind? Let's begin with something you believe is unquestionably true. Open your eyes. Look around the room. It certainly feels as though you're looking directly at reality. A table, a wall, a window, perhaps another person. It seems effortless, as if the world simply enters your mind exactly as it exists. But that feeling is an illusion. Your eyes do not see objects. They cannot. They detect only tiny packets of electromagnetic radiation that fall within an incredibly narrow range of wavelengths. Everything else, radio waves, infrared, ultraviolet, X-rays, gamma rays, passes through the world completely unnoticed. What you call visible reality is only a tiny fraction of what actually surrounds you. Now consider color. It feels like one of the most obvious properties of the world. Grass is green, the sky is blue, fire is orange. But color does not exist outside your brain. Photons have wavelengths. Objects reflect different frequencies of light. Nowhere in nature does the color blue actually exist. Blue is an experience, a construction, created entirely inside your nervous system. The same is true for every color you've ever seen. Your brain transforms invisible physical information into a vivid world filled with color. The world itself never contained those colors to begin with. Then there is your blind spot. Every human eye contains a small region where the optic nerve leaves the retina. There are no photoreceptors there, no images detected. A literal hole exists in your visual field. You should constantly see a dark, empty space. But you don't. Your brain quietly invents what should be there, every second, without asking your permission, without informing your conscious mind. You have been looking through missing information your entire life and never noticed. Vision is not the only sense built this way. Sound works the same way. Air molecules vibrate. Your ears convert those vibrations into electrical signals. Silence, music, voices. None of them travel into your brain. Only electrical activity does. Touch, taste, smell. Every sensation follows the same principle. Signals enter, experience emerges. At no point does your brain ever come into direct contact with reality itself. Instead, it receives incomplete information, tiny fragments, scattered clues, and from those fragments, it constructs an entire universe, which raises an uncomfortable possibility. If your senses never deliver reality directly, then where does the finished picture come from? Who or what completes everything you think you see? Because perhaps the greatest illusion isn't that your senses sometimes fool you. Perhaps the greatest illusion is believing they were ever showing you reality in the first place. If your brain never receives reality directly, then it faces an impossible problem. Every fraction of a second, it must decide what is happening in the world. But the information arriving from your senses is incomplete. It is noisy, delayed, often ambiguous. If the brain waited until every signal arrived before making a decision, you would already be too late. A falling branch, a speeding car, a predator hidden in the grass, in nature. Waiting for certainty can be fatal. So evolution found a different solution. Instead of waiting for reality, the brain predicts it. Long before your conscious mind becomes aware of what you're seeing, your brain is already generating its best explanation of the world. This idea is known as predictive processing, according to this growing framework in neuroscience. Perception does not begin with your eyes. It begins with expectations. The brain continuously builds an internal model of reality, a living simulation based on everything it has learned throughout your life. Every memory, every pattern, every past experience becomes part of that model. Then something remarkable happens. Incoming sensory signals are not used to create reality from scratch. They are used to check whether the brain's prediction was correct. Most of the time, your brain is not asking, "What am I seeing?" It is asking, "Was my prediction close enough?" If the prediction matches the incoming signals, conscious experience remains stable. If reality differs from the prediction, the brain updates its model and tries again. This process happens continuously, thousands of times every second, without you ever noticing. One neuroscientist described perception in a way that sounds almost impossible to believe. Your brain is engaged in a controlled hallucination. Not a hallucination in the sense of seeing things that do not exist, but a carefully constrained simulation, one that is constantly corrected by sensory evidence. Think about what that means. The world you experience is not built by your eyes. Your eyes provide clues. Your brain writes the story. This also explains something extraordinary. Why optical illusions work. Why two people can witness the same event and remember it differently. Why expectations shape perception. Why context changes what you hear. Why placebo effects can alter pain. Why your name seems to stand out instantly in a crowded room. The brain is never passively observing reality. It is actively constructing it. And the more accurate its predictions become, the more invisible that construction process feels. Perhaps the greatest achievement of the human brain is not that it shows you reality. It is that it makes its own construction feel indistinguishable from reality itself. That illusion is so complete that most people never realize it exists. If your experience of reality is built by the brain, then one remarkable possibility follows. The model can change. This is happening all the time. Every conversation, every new experience, every mistake, every unexpected event, each one quietly updates the predictions your brain makes about the world. You are not born with a finished perception of reality. You learn it. As a child, your brain knew almost nothing. It slowly discovered patterns, faces, language, gravity, danger, trust, love. Everything that now feels obvious was once a prediction your brain had not yet learned to make. Even today, that learning never truly stops. Every time you encounter evidence that contradicts your expectations, your brain has a choice. Ignore it, or rewrite its model. Sometimes that change is small. A new fact, a new skill, a new memory. Sometimes it transforms an entire life. One conversation can change how you see another person. One discovery can change your understanding of the universe. One unexpected experience can completely alter your sense of who you are. The world outside may remain exactly the same, yet your reality becomes something entirely different. This is why curiosity matters, why science matters, why questioning your assumptions matters, because every new piece of reliable evidence expands the model your brain uses to understand existence. The goal is not to eliminate prediction. That would be impossible. Prediction is what allows you to move, to speak, to survive. The goal is to build better predictions, models that are flexible enough to change when reality demands it. The most accurate minds are not those that never make mistakes. They are the ones willing to correct them. Reality does not ask us to be certain. It asks us to keep learning. And perhaps that is the closest any human being can come to seeing the world more clearly. So, have you ever truly seen reality? Perhaps not. Perhaps none of us have. What we experience every moment is not reality itself, but the most successful model our brains have been able to construct. That realization can feel unsettling, but it can also be deeply liberating. Because if perception is something the brain continuously builds, then your understanding of the world is never finished. There is always more to discover, more to question, more to understand. The greatest scientific revolutions began with people willing to doubt what seemed obvious. Perhaps the next revolution begins much closer, inside your own mind. The universe may be far stranger than we imagine, but the most extraordinary mystery may not be the cosmos above us. It may be the silent process happening inside every human brain at this very moment. Every color you see, every sound you hear, every face you recognize, every memory you treasure, every fear you carry, every hope you imagine, all of it emerges from a universe of electrical activity hidden within complete darkness. And perhaps the most remarkable question is no longer, what is reality? But how much of reality are we still learning to see?